What if the single tiniest habit could change the way people see you forever? Stay with me for 10 minutes and I will show you how. Imagine walking into any room and knowing not magically but practically what someone is thinking. Not their secrets, but the small clues that tell you if they are nervous, lying, or ready to say yes. Today we follow one man's strange apprenticeship from Wall Street cubicle to global mentalist and pull out the usable human lessons hidden inside those tricks. Lessons you can use tomorrow. What he reveals about fear, it is the reason most people never try. At 14, he learned to talk his way into restaurants with nothing but a few tricks and a bold smile.
When I was 14, I'd walk up to you at a restaurant. I talked my way into getting a restaurant gig because I'd been doing magic tricks since I was 13. And I started learning by iterating. What makes people, when I walk up to them, comfortable with me? What makes them uncomfortable?
Small experiments, small rejections, massive practice. Over decades, he taught himself to see the tiny rhythms of people, the angle you approach a table, the split-second look away, the micro-habit that gives you an edge. This was not magic. It was observation turned into repeatable, practical habits. Here is one line he uses to never forget a name, and it takes 5 seconds. Memory is not glamour, it is leverage. He distilled the shampoo bottle trick, lather, rinse, repeat into a social tool.
So I have a trick, a tip for that specific situation, as well as others for memory. But I've repurposed the instructions on a shampoo bottle so it sticks in your head. Shampoo bottles have 3 words on the back: lather, rinse, repeat, right? Lather makes your hair smell good. Rinse cleans your hair. Repeat, we got to sell more Pantene Pro V. So we all know that. Everyone knows lather, rinse, repeat. I will describe it as this: listen, repeat, reply. Listen, repeat, reply. So easy. The first step sounds silly. It's comical. Why am I even saying this? The first step is what 95% of us do wrong.
Listen, repeat, reply. Hear the name. Repeat it aloud. Use it. That 3-step loop turns a moment into a memory. Do this once and you are remembered forever. Try it tomorrow at the coffee shop. Want confidence that arrives faster than practice? This mental trick works. Confidence, he says, is not a myth, it is a muscle you rewire. When dread tells you do not call them, he fast forwards his feelings, set an alarm for 24 hours and ask, how will I feel then? Usually the dread falls to a 2. Use that insight to force action now. The tiny ritual alarm plus action crushes procrastination and builds momentum. But his real superpower was not tricks. It was a mindset: make other people the star. He writes details immediately after every show, names kids' offhand comments and stores them like invisible gifts.
I will write in, if you look at my phone right now, the event last night, set list. I wrote down the name of the host, his wife, they have 3 children, they have twins, like everything about this is very fresh in my mind, and I'll remember it for a day, but then it will kind of, it will dissipate. Which tricks did I do? What happened in the tricks? What were funny moments that were off the cuff? Who did I meet earlier that day? I met somebody, and again, I'm writing all this stuff down because that information is power. That information, the longer you hold it, it's a coupon with no expiration dates.
2 years later, when he mentions a detail that the other person thought had vanished, they feel seen. That feeling spreads, and reputation follows. One throwaway comment changed his life, and it can change yours. He was working on Wall Street when a CFO joked, "We need you working here, mate." That throwaway line cracked something open, a future he had not seen.
Oh man, he's an Australian guy. And he goes, "We need you working here, mate." And everyone laughs. And you know, it's a joke I've heard 100 times, 1,000 times. And I go, "It's funny, sir, I do work here." And he thought it was a joke. I broke character a little. I go, no, seriously, I work at 95 Green at your Global Technology Services Department. And he looked at me and goes, "What are you doing working here?" And that moment to him, I assume, was nothing. It was forgotten moments later. But that moment changed the course of my life.
That is the paradox of small things. Tiny moments change trajectories. So here is the silent bet: treat micro moments like they matter, because they do. If you want influence, do not start with yourself. Start with them. He calls this channeling your inner mentalist, but it is really empathy turned into craft tailor. Your words to the other person's world anticipate the objections they will voice and answer them before they can say them. That is persuasion that feels like care. People's focus follows yours, so where you look, they follow. Attention is currency. He learned that if you force the other person to look at the wrong detail, they will forget what matters. Every performer knows this guide, the focus, and you change the story they tell later.
The thing I really learned from that is that your focus is driving someone else's focus. So when I'm going through my life, I need to make sure my focus is in the right place, the place that I want it to be.
In conversations, choose what you want them to remember, then lean into it. But he also taught something softer, the art of listening. The most interesting person in a room is often the most interested person. Ask better questions, avoid yes or no traps, and give someone your undivided attention.
And they will ask you questions that other people haven't asked you before. And I challenge you, don't just do the normal question when you meet somebody. Oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, as soon as we do that, we go into autopilot. I go into autopilot, and I'm not judging you. Most people do that, right? 50% of people have to be below average, right? And 49.9% are above average. That's inherently the fun. Challenge yourself to be the outlier and think of a question you can ask someone if you have time to think of it in advance or in the moment that throws them out of autopilot, that makes them think, wow, I haven't really thought of that before. Asking questions that are not yes or no questions are also great.
That alone can open doors you did not even know were there. This is how legends are quietly built. If you are getting one usable idea right now, tap like it helps others find this one idea too. He also reveals a psychological shield he uses for rejection, split your identity.
Another one is I would walk up to tables and people would kick me out. They'd be like, get out of here. They wouldn't pay attention to me, things that would hurt my feelings. So what I did is I created in my mind some way where I have two separate personalities. This guy was Oz the entertainer, Oz the magician, now Oz the mentalist. This guy was Oz Pearlman. They don't know the real me. That's a different guy. So when I walked up to a table and got turned down or rudely rejected, instead of me feeling that pain in myself, I pushed it somewhere else. And I go, you know what? They didn't like Oz the entertainer. That's a different guy. That's not me. And so the same way that if you took right now a bowl of water right here and we poured salt in the water, it's salt water. But what if we could take an invisible small piece of plastic and put it right down the center? And now you pour all the salt on one side. This side is immune. This is fresh water. If you can do that in your own mind, the same way that I use my tricks to trick your mind, trick your own mind, that will take away the sting. Because
when one persona is rejected, the entertainer, the real you, is untouched. Imagine a small invisible partition. One side takes the salt, the other stays fresh. That mental partition preserves your sense of self, so you can keep trying without being flattened by every no. Lies are not magic, they are patterns. Learn the pattern and you see the truth. Spotting dishonesty is less about theatrics and more about baseline behavior.
You decide, the same way that you did with Jules, I want you to think of the name of the car, whether it's the brand, whether it's the make, and I want you to pick one letter out from anywhere, I'm assuming it's more than one word unless you just said Ford. I don't want to lead you, but if it is more than one word, and if it's 2, 3, 4 words, decide on one of the words. Have you decided on one of the words?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, one of the words.
Don't say another word. Now, see, you just saying that was interesting. Decide on one of the words.
Yeah.
And pick one of the letters, something interesting to you. Grab the one letter and just focus on that one letter.
Yeah.
You have it?
Yeah.
Now you asked me, you said it's all misdirection, right? The eye movements, this is all just window dressing, but you just gave something away. You said one of the words with a question because you were confused.
He sets benchmarks, see how someone looks or speaks when they are honest, then notice the deviations. Details like cadence, extra filler details, or shifts in story density are signals. Trust your instincts and test them gently to learn people's honest patterns. Over time, all these small tactics add up to a deeper ethic. Be generous. Give unexpectedly. Remember details. Make others look good. In his world, creating memorable moments is the true magic, and that is the most human kind. It is not manipulation, it is service disguised as craft. Here is a tiny daily routine that rewires your courage. Tonight, write one small detail about someone you met today into your phone. Tomorrow, mention it. See their face. See the domino. If that landed for you, subscribe for more condensed episodes like this. No spam, just ideas you can use the next day. This story ends where he began not with supernatural tricks, but with a commitment to observe, to practice, and to give. He did not become a mentalist by accident. He stacked tiny habits, careful notes, tiny rituals, choosing the right focus, and turning curiosity into a craft. Those are replicable. Those are yours to steal. So here is the close. The world feels noisy because we mistake loud for important. The real power sits in the small, the single remembered name, the 2-second pause that opens a confession, the alarm you set that forces you to act. Do those little things and slowly, almost invisibly, the story of your life changes. Step by tiny step. Be the person who remembers. Be the person who acts. Be the person who makes other people feel seen. If you loved this condensation of human-sized hacks, subscribe and hit the bell. Share this with one person you want to remember a small thing about tomorrow. I will see you in the next one. This script distilled key moments from the Diary of a CEO episode featuring Oz Pearlman. Huge thanks to the Diary of a CEO and Steven Bartlett for the conversation that inspired this summary. Please watch the full episode on the official Diary of a CEO channel to hear the original stories in full.